Good morning, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan. So, let's talk about Alone. I think it was episode 7. I can't keep track anymore. I guess it was a little bit more. It was a little bit more interesting because there's a little bit more to talk about today than there has been in the past. We'll talk about the first couple contestants, and then we'll talk about the tap out of Terry. First one is, I think it's Carrie Lee. It's the one that was, I get them mixed up because they almost look alike. But she's the one that did the birthday cake for the mom, and I think she's the oldest contestant. But she has her shelter, which is pretty much nothing more than a tarp over some sticks, which I approve of. I do approve of her shelter. The one thing that does concern me, though, first, it's a little bit, shall we say, airy. But while they highlighted her this week, and she was sitting in the tent, you could kind of hear the wind flapping on the tarp, and it just sort of brought me back to, we'll try the middle here. It brought me back to, I want to say the kid's name was Joel. I'm not sure. He might have been. He won it one year. He might have been on it twice. But he was the big mouse eater. But he had a tarp tent similar. And I just remember there was about 3 or 4 miserable days of weather that he just tried to hunker down in it, and the noise that the tent made, or the tarp made, for 3 days about drove him insane. And so that's the only thing that concerns me about her shelter is I think I'd lay a little bit more stuff on the outside to keep the noise down. And then we have, I think it's Adam. I look over this stuff first, and then I forget their names. The one that found the dry rot wood, pretty sure that's Adam. Kind of like, hey, you give a shipbuilder some dry rot wood and some nails, and boy, they can work wonders. Hey, I took 2 stumps of wood and laid a board in between them, and I got a bench. Who would have thought? Wow, creative. And then the anti-bear door. As sturdy as that door may be, I'm thinking that if a bear turned its back to it and farted on it, it would probably fall over. I'm not thinking that's going to do much good for a hungry bear protection. And then we get to the third one, which is Terry. And I'm going to say this right now because I don't want to forget it. And hopefully I'll repeat it during the review. But it was last week's episode when he was, I don't know what he was doing, naming a mountain or a valley. Maybe it was a valley for his mother. I thought he was kneeling near a stream. or a river. So that's sort of just don't forget that part. Terry is what makes me wonder about the show alone. It has everything in it. Now, I've said before, I think I want the type of person that I think is going to win. The archetype is an orphan that doesn't have, like a single orphan is the perfect contestant for this show, or the spouse that tells the wife that tells the husband, or whatever these days, in their goodbye segment, if you tap out because you're homesick, I'm filing for divorce. Those two get my instant picks for possibly winning. The person I'm going to from now on say doesn't stand a chance to win, or are tall, thin people, or people that can't really carry extra weight. And I know there's a couple of exceptions. I didn't go back and look, but Jordan to me was, I'm thinking off the top of my head, Jordan wasn't exactly a big boned individual. He did hit the luck box with the moose, but this show takes a lot of luck anyways. I spent the last 6 days watching the World Series of Poker main event, and if you don't think there's luck involved in that to win, then so there's definitely a lot of luck to win it. But what I don't understand is how these people get there and sort of forget the things that they need to do, or skip the things that they need to do. I found it just incredibly Terry amazed me in so many ways, and not in a good way. The first thing that came to my mind was, how do you get dehydrated living on an island? And the next thing is, when he was talking about all he did for the last 7 or 8 days, whatever it was basically eat off that beaver. Didn't hunt at all. Which brings me back to the dehydration. If you're not hunting for 8 days, and this kind of goes to, I'll put the post up from a Facebook posting that he made, sort of talking a little bit about his tap out. So I'm not, I hate to get the two intertwined, but I was not quite certain about how you get dehydrated. And I really was amazed that he didn't think he still needed to hunt until he was out of the beaver. And that was the time to go find food. When you have no more, that's the time to go get more. I was just astonished at that. And then the other thing was, I think the most amazing element, but before that, I'm not sure if this was talked about during the actual show, or when I watched it, on the on-demand, So I'm not sure what the show actually showed when it aired, but they were talking about him not being able to keep food and water down. I'm not sure when that actually took place, if it was when during the medical tap out, or if it was in the post show where they were talking a little bit more about him. I'm not sure, but I was like, well, I heard that and I was like, oh, okay, he's not keeping anything down. But the one thing that he said that I found shocking was, I made a bunch of mistakes, but I wouldn't change any of them, because then the experience would have been different. It's like, what? You might have won. Had you kept hunting, you might have won. Or if you drank more water, you might have lasted longer. I don't understand that. And it sort of gets back to this point of why some of these people are on this show. I don't understand why they're not playing to win. They're playing for the experience. And I know someone has said, well, so they can sort of boost up their guide experience, guiding clientele maybe, or their bushcraft clientele. I'm not going to go to the one that loses. Maybe some people are, but I'm not going to pick the guy that loses. The guy that doesn't think he needs to hunt for 8 days. That's not the guy I'm going to go talk to. Or the guy that gets dehydrated on an island. That's not the guy that I want to go with, hang with, or learn bushcraft from a guy that dehydrates on an island. That's not the guy I want. So now we'll get to his post. And in his post, he talks about the dehydrating, and it wasn't a parasite, it was dehydration and malnutrition. So we already talked about the 8 days, and this is where I sort of kind of lost it with him, was that, so you didn't try to gather food for 8 days. And he talks about how long the process is because there was animals in the water. You have to boil the water, and it's a long process. Well, if you're not hunting for 8 days, what else do you have to do? What else do you have to do? Chop wood and boil water. That's it. That's all you have to do. If you're not going to hunt, why not boil some water? And that gets to the point where he was talking about I guess that's where I was kind of going with the, don't forget the dedication to mom. He was talking about like all the water was kind of like, I guess you could say, not free flowing, not a lot of streams or creeks. But I keep thinking when he did his little dedication, he was by a stream. I keep thinking he was by flowing water when he did his dedication. And then it goes even more astonishing is in his post, he talks about like when he's in the backwoods, believe it or not, he drinks 3 gallons of water a day. Well, I don't disbelieve you, but if you know that, wouldn't you sort of mentally get that through your head before you left that, boy, I'm going to need, whoa, sorry. If there isn't, there hasn't been a time where people have found some sort of well and were able to put a pail down it and drink the water. They've always had to boil water. So wouldn't you know that whole shit, that's a lot of water to boil, so I got to take the biggest pot with me. If you know you need 3 gallons of water a day, I'm not really sure why water, the process of boiling it down is such a factor for you. You know you're going to have to spend extra time doing that than maybe the average person. And then he talks about in his post about he would have drank the raw water. Well, then do it. I mean, I don't understand why, if you know you need 3 gallons a day and you're not going to take the time to boil it down, and you want a chance to win this game, then do what you need to do. You know, go down and start slurping. To me, it was almost like they get there, and as much as it was funny with the guy that talked about they're gonna, you know, if he ever runs into a bear, they're gonna need an ambulance for the bear, and then he leaves in an hour. At least he was honest right up front. To me, what Terry did was got there, and after about 2 days realized, you know, it's going to take a lot of work to get this water, and I need 3 gallons a day, so screw it. I'm gonna get by, try to get by on a couple of cups a day and just last as long as I can. Oh, and then the fact that he didn't hunt for food for the first 8 days. I don't understand why they waste their time doing this when the object is to win, and they so hurt their chances by not doing what's necessary. They know ahead of time what they're going to need. They know they're going to be starving. That's why they try to fatten up before they get there, because they know they're going to be starving. There's not a lot of food. So they're putting on weight because of that, specifically to try to avoid that issue, at least in the beginning. He knows he needs 3 gallons of water, so he knows he's going to have to work harder, but he just said screw it. He didn't go there to win. He didn't go there to win. And I watched the show for the people that go there to win. Not for the people that go for the experience, for the 6-week, you know, vacation until they get homesick, or till they're forced to tap out medically because, well, they're not going to give up, but they know they can't last because they know they're not doing what they need to do to maintain. It's frustrating to continue to watch people that just won't do what they need to do. So, I hope she does something better with her little hut. Adam, I think a good strong fart is going to ruin your plans to dissuade a bear from coming in and eating your ass. Terry, I'm astonished by the revelations. But that's it. Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.